Hey guys, it's Matt here, and in this video, we'll be experimenting with something a little bit different this time around. We'll be finding out if the iBook G4, released in 2005 with a PowerPC G4 processor, is still usable in 2021. So this right here is my iBook G4. I've actually owned this thing for almost a decade. It's been around 8 years. I got this, I think, when I was like 10 years old. I don't remember exactly. Maybe I was 11. But I've owned this thing for a long time. And it's still been working to this day. Unfortunately, the battery's gone flat and it doesn't work anymore. But it does otherwise still work. This iBook G4 specifically has a 1.42 gigahertz PowerPC G4 processor. This is the best iBook G4 that you can get, I'm pretty sure, ever. Obviously, you can get more powerful CPUs in the PowerBook models and such, but for an iBook, this is the most powerful model you can get. It has 1 gig of RAM, and it has a DVD drive as well. This, I think, has a 30 or 40 gigabyte hard drive, although I don't exactly remember. I've used this thing for quite a long time. I actually dailied this I dailied this iBook for a very long time. I think for like a year or two, until I got like a polycarbonate 2010 MacBook, which I've sold off to my parents. They still actually use it every now and then, and that's when I got my 2014 MacBook Air, which is still my main Mac, though I have now my M1 Mac Mini, and that's been my main Mac ever since. Anyways, side tangents aside, let's get this thing powered up, and let's see. I mean, it should still work. This speaker needs a bit of help. It needs a lot of work, this computer does. It's got a lot of cracks, chips, and stuff like that. I bought it like that a long time ago. Unfortunate, that's how it is, but yeah, you can see here we are. We've got the boot up screen here, so let's get this thing booted up. I'll get the camera adjusted too. All right. So you can see I have the desktop here of my iBook G4, and, well, it just looks like old macOS, and it's because it is. The latest version that the iBook G4 can run is macOS 10.5.8, and yes, technically you can throw like a beta of Snow Leopard on here. I might experiment with it in the future. Comment if you want to see that, I guess, but I've just got Leopard running on it right now. What can you really do with these computers? Well, you can see I've got Microsoft Office installed on this one here. Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint. I think you can get Outlook for these as well, but I think I skipped that one. I've even got Virtual PC on here to emulate some older Windows apps. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, otherwise this is just like old Mac OS really. Now, unfortunately, being so old, you really can't run that much on here, or at least you would think so. It's not actually really all that true, because the community for these computers has really been alive. There are a ton of people who are making applications still for these things. Well, I wouldn't say a ton, but there are a decent amount of people. In fact, DOSDude1 just actually made a version of Discord that runs on macOS 10 Tiger. It will run on these computers, and that's really cool. Now, I haven't actually messed with that myself, and I very much might, but yeah. So let's just open up like an application here though. Like, let's open up Microsoft Word. So you can already see, just opening up Microsoft Word, that is extremely slow. It does work, and honestly, if you need to use this thing for text editing of any kind, theoretically, it should be able to do that just fine. So here we are. You can see we've got Word up here, and it actually had all the bolding and stuff like that on a separate window on the side here. So let's just type in something. You can see it freezes a little bit, but you're not really going to be typing that fast. I don't need to save that, so we're going to quit out of this. So other than like just some word processing or like Excel spreadsheets or PowerPoint, you probably want to do more like access the internet. Now, I've actually got a tool here called WebKit. Well, it's not really a tool. It's a web browser with a more modern version of WebKit ported over, and it is showing its age more nowadays. Years ago, it looked pretty good and it worked really well. For some reason, that didn't work. I don't know why. It's being stupid. I really don't know what's going on with it, but it's just not working for some reason. So we're going to move on for that. I'll come back to that later. So we've also got like mail. We've got iChat, which still works, by the way. If you have a Google Talk account, that actually still works. I have mine signed into it. iCal, pretty sure they use MobileMe. I don't know if you can sync stuff. It obviously still works as like a general calendar application. But yeah, the mail app, I actually have my Gmail account signed into it, and it does work. So if you need to access your email from these things, you still can. can, which is cool. I'm not going to open it just because it's got my personal information in there. So if we were to go to like system preferences, you can see this still looks very similar to what we have in macOS today. Apple really, they have changed a lot with macOS, but the underlying stuff is still there. So like this still looks very similar to what we have today. And you can even see down here, like the dock is still exactly the same, basically. Not the design of the dock per se, but the general usability is basically exactly the same. You can use this to resize, and you can see here even the menu bar is exactly the same as it is still in newer macOS when it comes to functionality. Like I said, stuff looks a lot different, but it's still basically the same. Even the Apple menu here is still basically the same and is very much unchanged from how it used to be. And it's still very much unchanged from how it is on macOS today. A couple of entries have changed, sure. Like the macOS 10 software button is not there anymore. The App Store was in here, but I think they actually brought software update back to this menu in Mojave. I don't remember exactly, I'll have to check that later, but the App Store used to be in here for updates, but I'm pretty sure they put software update back in the menu bar up there. Spotlight still exists today. This obviously looks very different than how it does in more modern versions of macOS, but if I want to do like 5+5, this can do exactly the same thing, like with calculations. It can do all that still, and it does it really well. It's actually really quick. So if I want to find, like, let's just do 70 to the power of 2. I actually thought that was going to work. No, it does not. So I guess that's different. You used to, at least with newer macOS versions, you can use Spotlight to find the power of stuff with the calculator. I'm not totally sure how you do that in this version, or if you even can, but yeah, Spotlight is still there, still works really well. In fact, I can open up, like, just think of like a small app that I could open that I could easily quit, like iSync. If I can type, I only have one hand. Yep, popped up near immediately. I can open it just like that. And I'm gonna quit this. Also, who remembers iSync? I don't exactly remember what the purpose of this application was, but I don't remember what OS they did. Maybe it was Lion or Snow Leopard. Also, one thing that newer macOS versions don't have, although this definitely was not the last version, I think Mojave was the last version to include this, was Dashboard. I have a lot in there. I actually don't really use Dashboard that much on any of my other systems that have it, like El Cap systems or anything like that. I don't really use it that much anymore. On this old system, though, I threw a lot of stuff in there because Dashboard was very new at the time. When Leopard was the latest, it was Tiger that actually introduced it. Tiger actually also introduced Spotlight, which we still have today, obviously. So that's really cool. Now, when it comes to general usability, like I said, the community has done a lot to keep this thing alive. You can still run a lot of older applications on this thing. In fact, there's actually an app called the PowerPC App Store that lets you run a lot of older applications. It's like an archival app of other older PowerPC apps that you can install on this computer, or on any PowerPC Mac, I guess. However, one thing that is really cool that the community has brought back is Minecraft. Now, with Minecraft, this actually fully works. On this iBook, it runs at a decent frame rate. It depends on where you're at. In some areas, it's like 10 FPS. But in several other areas, it can be up to like 40, 45 FPS in some areas, with the settings all the way cranked down, of course. But yeah, I actually have this script modified. Normally it asks you for your name, but I have that modified so it won't do that, just so it makes it easier for the video. And there you go. It's running the PowerPC version of Minecraft right here. In fact, I can actually open up a world. We're going to open up just a single player world. This is an old version of Minecraft as well. This is 1.2.5. Definitely not running any kind of newer stuff, but it will actually run. You can actually see that's totally playable. Like that frame rate, it does stutter, but that frame rate is totally playable. It's not great, but it's not the worst thing I've seen either. Like this is genuinely good. Looking at the trees, the frame rate does drop a decent bit, and it's trying to load stuff, so it's definitely not helping right now. But yeah, it's totally playable here. We're gonna quit out of this. Just kidding, it won't let me. We're gonna just quit out like this. Just kidding, it won't let me do that, so I guess I have to close the game like a sane person. Now, when it comes to running, let's just say you want to run some newer applications on this computer, you can't, at least not with the OS that's installed on here. On the Windows side of things, you can't actually natively boot that. On the Linux side of things, you have to find apps that support a PowerPC binary, which I would say that's probably far and few between. Let me know if you, like I said, if you want to see a video on this, I will be happy to make one. But yeah, just as an experiment, I actually installed Windows 7 in a virtual machine. doesn't run good. I'm going to say that right now. In fact, I might make a full video on this again. If you want to see a video on this down the future, if you want to see a video on this more down the road, let me know with like a comment and maybe I'll do a video on it. It's not going to be great and I'll have to edit out a lot of slowdown, but it's fun to experiment with at least. I'm not going to open it right now because it takes forever. Now, like I said, if you want to see a video on it, let me know in the comments below. I'm not going to set a like goal. I just want to actually have comments specifically for people saying, yeah, I want to see this. I don't want to waste your time if you don't. What about like running multimedia applications? I don't actually have a lot of stuff installed on this computer. I recently wiped the hard drive and reinstalled macOS onto this computer because it was really slow and it just was not good. So I reinstalled it, got a lot of stuff wiped off. I put some stuff back on there that I actually do use. But like right now, I don't have GarageBand installed. I don't have any of those apps. Yes, there are apps like that that do work. I think the latest that runs on here is like from 2011, maybe? I don't remember exactly. But this actually did have a copy of GarageBand. It was like an older version, maybe from 08 or 09, but it worked really well in here, and I actually made a few dinky little projects in there when I was a lot younger. Kind of fun little memories to go back to. I'll have to see if I can find the version that I used on here, but that was definitely fun, to say the least, to go back to. Now that's later in the video, I just want to see, is this even, like, trying? Well, we'll use the built-in Safari web browser then that's installed on here. Yeah, this seems to load. Yeah, okay, there we go. That doesn't look very good, but yeah, okay. That actually did work. Runs like garbage, but it did work. You can actually see a lot of stuff is not rendering properly either. But if I were to go and just search, let's just search my YouTube channel. Yeah, there we are. I don't know if this is going to load. My guess is no. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. I'm surprised it tried, to be honest. But yeah, that's really all you get. You get a menu button, which doesn't even know it's a button, and you get circles. Yeah, that's enough of the web browser. No, that's not good. But if WebKit wanted to work, that'd be much better. So I'll have to experiment with that later. So yeah. As a machine that is, it's like 16 years old at this point, I think it's actually held up a lot better than it could have. There's a lot of that could have really gotten worse with this, especially if the community hadn't actually messed with it. I'm actually curious about the Discord version that is compatible with this computer. I'll have to go ahead and experiment with that, probably off camera. Maybe I'll do a video on it. Again, let me know in the comments what you want to see me do with this thing. I've never actually featured this computer on the channel before. Anyways, that is enough for this video. If you liked it, then click the like button. Get subscribed if you like the content that you see on this channel. And like I said, let me know in the comments below if you want to see me do videos on this with Windows 7, or installing a Linux distro, or doing anything really. Unfortunately with Linux, I might have to wipe the hard drive, so it might take me some time to get that one done if I just decide to buy a new drive. But just let me know what you want to see in the comments below. I'd love to experiment with this machine more in more future videos. Anyways though, that's enough from me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys all later. Bye!